Boy, it has been a while, hasn't it? Oh boy. I think the last time I did this was about, 2 years, maybe more. I mean, I know the last activity on my channel has been the fact that I made, hang on here, some crap on my lens. That I made a movie. I guess I should update you guys on what's been going on. I mean, not that anyone really cares, but anyway, I have been, since I last made a video, I have managed to blow out my ears even worse than I had before. And I know that anyone who's ever watched any of my videos knows there's always some mentioning about my constantly changing ear conditions. So let's just say things have gotten worse on that front, a lot worse. In fact, that might be one of the reasons why I haven't really recorded anything. The biggest change, however, is that I have studied filmmaking for a year. So even though it's a very rudimentary, like just, you know, all covering, not really specialization of a course, I have studied some film in a practical sense. I have theory behind me, now I have both theory and practicality, and one day I plan on continuing to be a practical filmmaker. However, I'm going to turn this around a little bit because I realize I'm not wearing socks, and if I stand, I make all these fucking noises. Anyway, I've had a very 2013 / early 2014 was a very changing experience for me. Yes, I am going to be drinking during this vlog, so if I slur, if I ramble, the fact that I both have a glass of wine and a glass of beer here will be the reason why. Anyway, I started studying film. I met some amazing people, some slightly less amazing people, and some people who changed my perception of what it means to be a filmmaker. I ended up in a class with a lot of people who wanted to make political film, and to explain things very shortly, I came into this, my ears, like my tinnitus, my tinnitus and my problems with my eardrums came to a very weird and terrifying head in May of last year, when all of a sudden I started losing my hearing on my right ear. My eardrum started getting impacted, and was something that no one really could do anything about. And along with getting impacted, making my hearing worse, it also started ringing a whole lot more, which meant that I could hardly sleep. I was already going through a period of severe insomnia, meaning that I slept around 3 or 4 hours a night from, I think, the period of late March till probably around June-ish. So I had about 2.5 months there where I wasn't sleeping nearly at all. I was working on a story which ironically also featured a character who was an insomniac, and I'm still working on that script. In fact, I'll get to that in a bit. So it was kind of fitting with the character, and as an actor at heart, I am the kind of author who wants to live into his characters. So in a way, I almost encouraged myself to not sleep, even though it wasn't me writing this story was not the reason why I was not sleeping. I was not sleeping out of frustrations from work stuff and stuff in my life in general, but I almost encouraged myself not to sleep since I was already writing this character who was also having problems with not sleeping and dealing with all the problems in his life. It sort of backed me up on both fronts, not being able to sleep and trying to write this story. Unfortunately, it had severe tolls because one thing that can happen if you don't sleep and get stressed and fatigued is that your eardrums can actually get affected by that. And since I already have that sort of predisposed as a problem, it kind of ruined things. But anyway, my problems got so severe, I got really depressed and I had a really hard time getting through the next couple of months. My workplace, we found out that my grocery store, the one I was working in through all the time I've been making these vlogs, the grocery store job that paid for my camera, the grocery store that has paid for all the movies I've seen since I started making vlogs, was getting shut down. And I was certain I was going to get a new job. Fortunately, I got accepted into film school the week before we found out that we were getting shut down. So to me, even if not having a job kind of sucked, I knew I would have something to do. But what happened was I got transferred to another store. That's not important. So I have a job now that I don't really do because I'm studying again. But I started studying film, and the problem was that I ended up in this class. Like, I was really depressed. I was in a really dark place, one of the darkest places I've ever been in my life. Even though things are worse now than they were then, I am still in a better place mentally than I was then. So I'm in this really terrible place. I don't know what to do with myself. I'm angry. I'm frustrated. I'm scared. I don't know what my life is coming to. I'm seriously questioning why I'm even alive. And I feel like I just want to make some movies. I just want to have some fun. I just want to get started on the thing that I want to do for the rest of my life. And I end up in the situation where I am the pushover in a class filled of people that were not filled of, but you know what it's like when people that don't really have a real heavy message they want to send kind of just sit back and just listen to what everyone else is saying. But then you have the people that are full of themselves, thinking that they're great new artists, that they have the vision for the future of cinema. They take up a lot of space. I'm one of those fuckers. I'm one of those assholes. But I was not the only asshole, and I was so tired that I could not take that fight. So I ended up in this class where for 3 projects, because I am a larger-than-life personality, I think anyone in that class or anyone in the current class I'm attending can tell you that, oh, Christian, he's a guy that takes a lot of fucking space. It's not my intention, it just ends up like that. I'm that kind of personality. I take up more space, and I kind of even really feel comfortable taking. The problem was that our teachers then saw me as this goof-off, class clown kind of character, and felt that I was well suited to be put with these really serious people who were kind of like uncompromisable when it came to what they wanted to make. They wanted to make movies that were, or like short films that were serious and had a serious message to them. And I just felt like, I don't want to do that. I just want to have fun, and now you're forcing me to be serious and confronting the problems of the world. I have enough problems in my head, literally problems in my head, that I can't get away from. The fact that whenever I close my eyes, all I hear is ringing, 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 and above this, you want me to focus on all the shit that's out in the world. Shit that I focused on, spent my entire childhood focusing on, you now want me to actually focus on when I make movies, which I have actually come to the point where I realize that I want to make films that are escapist in nature. I went to Stockholm Film Festival last year and I saw, I think, 14 films, all of them Asian except for one. I saw a documentary about film and film's relationship with children by Mark Cousins, which was amazing because I also attended a Q&A with Mark Cousins. Mark Cousins is a guy who made a 15-hour-long documentary series called The Story of Film, and this is a sequel called The Story of Children and Film, and it's equally excellent. The man's a master. He's an amazing writer, and he's an amazing film scholar. If you have not seen The Story of Film, and you like film, if there's one thing you should take away from this, except for my thoughts on the movie Gone Girl, that's what you should take away from this. That watch The Story of Film, because you will not be disappointed. It's amazing. In fact, our first homework we got in school was that Swedish Public Access had shown, we're in the middle of showing the last couple of episodes of this documentary series, and my teacher said, go home and watch the episodes that are still available on their website. And I was like, don't have to do that. I have it on DVD, watched all the episodes, I even have the book. Have not read it yet, but I have the book. None of my classmates seemingly had heard of it. Again, does not matter. I still like my classmates. I got some really great friends in that class. But you understand my perspective. So that was 2013's fall semester and 2014's spring semester. But that leads me to another thing. I had, since around Christmas 2013, 2012, and early 2013, played with the idea, because the story in question with the guy with the insomnia was related to another character who was of Korean descent. Yeah, from South Korea. She was a character from South Korea, or her parents were from South Korea. And around Christmas of 2012, Christmas 2013, I started getting to the point where I seriously considered learning Korean. And actually, I ended up spending Christmas Eve 2013 after being at my family get-together by sitting down and learning the Korean alphabet. Which eventually, when I went to a meeting for exchange trips to South Korea, landed me a scholarship at a South Korean university. So I guess that's the big thing, is that I am, as of, if everything goes according to plan, even with my fucked up ears that can't stand loud noises, and I don't know if I can even handle a plane ride, I will, as of the end of March 2015, move for a planned year to Seoul, South Korea, where I will be learning Korean, flirting with Korean girls, eating Korean food, and doing all those stupid things that disgusting foreign people do when they are not in their homeland, because they feel like they don't have to live with the consequences. So yeah, that's what's up with me. I'm currently learning Korean. It is interesting. It is really fun. I have made a shit ton of new friends. I'm having a blast. I kind of feel like I'm living a teenage version of... I feel like I'm living a student version of 500 Days of Summer, if that makes you understand. Sort of where my life is at. That's sort of the situation I feel like a classroom is for me right now, instead of being like an advertising office. But yeah, that's sort of how I view my life right now. It's a chaotic mess, but it's a chaotic mess I am dealing with because I finally have a proper fucking end goal. I still want to make movies. If anything came out of this day, it is that my heart is still in the film industry, even though I have hardly watched any new movies in the last month because I've been so busy studying. I'm a filmmaker and a writer at heart, and I will always be that. I have never published anything yet. If I ever complete anything, it is probably going to be a book / screenplay, and hopefully, if I ever actually get serious help and manage to fix myself, the first thing I'm going to be fucking doing is to, first of all, hit the gym, because there are some ramifications to my eardrums, meaning that I can't lose and gain weight too fast, because that fucks with my ears. But I'll be, if my ears would be magically fixed tomorrow, the first thing I would do, I would run somewhere and try to direct a film. And probably star in one too. Because even when I was actually studying film, behind the camera, my teacher said, "Christian, you have the air of an actor. I'm going to force you to be in movies." And that happened, and it was kind of fun. So even when I was studying behind the camera, my teacher forced me in front of it. So the heart of an actor, unfortunately, cannot be ignored. But now you know where I've been. Now you know all the shit all the weird crap I'm going through. Also, this entire thing is started because I've fallen into Asian cinema a lot. And that's not something we're really going to talk about today, but I have come to really love Asian cinema, like the quirks, the craziness, the rawness, and sometimes just the perverted nature of it. In fact, if we get to the spoiler segment later, if I even feel like doing one, we may talk about that in relation to the movie we're talking about now. But let's get down to it. I haven't made one of these in a long, long time. And, oh, by the way, my final film that I got to make in film studies, making film, is on this channel. It's in English. It was not supposed to be in English at first, but it's in English. It has Swedish subtitles, so if you don't know Swedish, I apologize for that, but it's in English. It's not perfect. There are some audio issues that I'm well aware of, but I will never be able... I will be able to fix them, but I probably never will, because I have other things to worry about right now. Booking, checking doctors, booking, fixing my economy. I'm moving to the other side of the world. I never thought I'd be saying this, especially the other side of the... I thought I was going to be moving to America, not to fucking Asia, but things happen. Yeah. Anyway, let's talk about Gone Girl. I have seen very few films this year. In fact, you could probably count the amount of times I've been to the movie theater on like two hands. Yeah, I saw Frozen earlier, like in the late winter, because that movie, like Disney movies, always come out here in January or February. So I saw Frozen. I've seen like Spider-Man. I didn't even see fucking X-Men, which really gnaws at me that I didn't see that movie. But I've seen Frozen, I've seen Spider-Man, I've seen Planet of the Apes. I didn't see Transformers because Michael Bay said that you'll go see it even if you think it's shit, and that made me feel like, no, I'm not going to pay to see that. I did see Ninja Turtles, I saw Guardians of the Galaxy. I have seen films, but I have not seen like an immense amount of films. You understand what I'm saying? But the thing is, about this year, I've only gone to see movies that I really look forward to. And I've gotten to the point where I'm getting serious superhero fatigue. I'm tired of superhero movies. I'm tired of Spider-Man. I'm tired of... Like, I was one of those people, I didn't really love Guardians of the Galaxy. I liked it, but I far from loved Guardians of the Galaxy. It was fun to see a film that was less serious than superhero movies have become, but that did not make it a perfect movie. In fact, I felt like it was a generic film that just happened. And, like, the entire sci-fi element, like, the visuals were generic, the pacing of the plot was generic, everything except the characters was generic. And you could say that that's stupid of me to pull so much away from the film because the characters should be the movie. But yes, but the characters deserved a more unique story to play their relatively unique personalities in. I hope the sequel actually allows them to play more with stupidity. In fact, that was what I saw with Guardians of the Galaxy. I saw potential that was untapped because of the fact that, of course, they didn't dare to fucking go further crazy. They were already making a movie with a fucking talking raccoon and a tree man. Hopefully the sequel will allow them to play with that more. In fact, the only other movie out right now that I feel like I really want to go see is Richard Linklater's Boyhood, because Richard Linklater is a director whom I have sort of come to realize might be my favorite director working now. Although David Fincher and Christopher Nolan are directors who are essentially masters of the craft, make perfect films, like near perfect films almost every time, I feel like their films are almost a little too perfect. They're almost playing it a little too safe. Nolan makes films that are incredibly beautiful and stylistically trend-setting in their behavior, like movies like Inception, The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight set the tone for what superhero movies could achieve, and everything else that's tried to reach that level has failed. Man of Steel is awful because it tries to make a Superman movie into a Dark Knight movie. Inception is, of course, like, say what you want. Some people don't like Inception because of the fact that they just feel like it's overrated, but Inception is a fucking masterpiece for what it is. I really love Inception. So Nolan does that, and that's amazing, but I almost feel like his movies are too perfect. And also because of the fact that they are so... hard to explain why. It's like, because they are so big, they almost become like the pretentious blockbuster identity-less, because they are so massive in scale, and even though they're so complex, they're meant to appeal to everybody. So it becomes this thing that I really love what you're making, Nolan, but it feels like it's made to be loved by everybody. And I know that's a hipster thing to say, but that sort of detracts from it, that they made this movie that's almost an art movie, but you're making it with a blockbuster mentality. And that's amazing, because it means that people actually see movies that make you think. In fact, that's why I love Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, is because that movie actually is a blockbuster that allows you to think. Just besides the fact that no women have any role in that movie. Linklater, on the other hand, makes movies that are just... they're flawed. I saw Bernie, which he made with Jack Black, and that's a movie that's straight up... I don't think it's a really good movie, but I appreciate the style and the way Linklater tries to play it. Boyhood, unless you know, like the movie that he has out now, is a movie that he has essentially made because he, I guess, didn't like the fact that every time that people make movies, you have like a kid playing the main character, and then when he grows up, he's played by an entirely different kid who obviously isn't the same kid. I guess he just wanted to try and see, what if we make a movie over 12 years? What if we take a kid who's like fucking... What if we take a kid who's like 8, and then we take like 12 years to make the film, and we make the kid grow up to be a man, or something? And that's the movie, and I haven't seen it, but I've heard great things, and I love Richard Linklater's Before trilogy. I love Dazed and Confused, and even though I didn't really like Bernie that much, I appreciated Bernie for what it did. So yeah, I'll probably go see that movie. Now that I'm in theater mode again, I'm actually really wrapped up in homework and studying in a way I've never been before in my life. You see, I've been rambling for 21 minutes. Great, we haven't even gotten to the film yet. Holy shit, I'm a fucking idiot. Let's get to the film before I fucking lose my mind. Also, so drink this shit is not good because I'm going to start rambling completely. The only other movie this year that I've really, really been looking forward to is David Fincher's new film, Gone Girl. I have not read this book. In fact, it should say something about this movie that my first instinct after having seen the movie was, I'm going to go buy the book. Not because I have time to read this thing, because I don't. In fact, Gillian Flynn's book will probably never get read by me because I really don't have time. In fact, before recording this, my first thought was I should really read Mockingjay because I'm going to have to go see the last Hunger Games book for the first part of it. And I refuse to do so if I have not seen the movie, so I should really do that. But I don't have time, and I really don't want to read that book. So Gone Girl is, even then, like it's out prioritized with at least like 20 books. But I almost did it just because I wanted to show my support for this story and for this movie. That I almost felt like I wish we would get to that future where you can go watch a movie in the movie theater, but you could also pay like 3 times the amount you pay to watch it in the movie theater to actually buy it like early. Gone Girl is one of those movies I would probably do that with. I would probably go watch Gone Girl in the movie theater, and then I would pay 3 times that amount again to instantly get it at home so I could look at it again. One thing about David Fincher that's really impressive is that he has always, ever since he made... he started out making Alien 3, which is an okay movie, and then like The Panic Room and The Game, which are also good movies, but it's with movies like Fight Club and Seven that he really started to come into his own and become this director with a style. He became a modern day auteur, and for me at least, he and Christopher Nolan kind of go hand in hand, whereas Christopher Nolan makes movies that are perfect perfect, but are like interesting and almost as close to perfect as Hollywood gets to scripts. At least like when it comes to challenging conception and actually trying to reinvent things. David Fincher's the guy who just makes movies that are visually fucking flawless. He makes movies that like I just look at his movies and they're so beautiful and like they're so simple and obvious yet yet inspired that I just look at every single camera pan, every single look up, every single sweep, every single shot, and I'm just like, this is fucking beautiful. I just the whole thing about David Fincher is that he makes movies that are driven by dialogue, and usually dialogue-driven films are films you only watch once, and you feel like that's okay. That was all I needed. I feel like drawing a comparison, this is a stupid comparison maybe, but it was the one I was thinking about earlier tonight. Rosamund Pike, who plays one of the 2 main characters in Gone Girl, she plays the wife Amy to Ben Affleck's Nick Dunn, who is the main character. And she was in Jack Reacher with Tom Cruise, and that's the typical example of a movie I saw at an event once, and I saw it once and I liked it, but I also immediately felt like I will never see this movie again. now I've actually gotten to the point where I want to see it again just because I really want to see Rosamund Pike. And yeah, I'm saying that looking down at the floor because Rosamund Pike is so pretty that it's kind of hard to not do that. Like, you just want to be like, gee, Rosamund, you're so nice and you're so sweet. Aw. Anyway. David Fincher takes that formula of films that are so reliant on their plot and their dialogue that theoretically you should only want to see it once and then be done with it. And he somehow makes that work to something you want to see again. That's why people keep watching Fight Club. People keep watching Seven. And I have to admit, kind of with the same thing as with Tarantino, where most people say, oh, Pulp Fiction, that's Tarantino's best movie. Yeah, maybe Fight Club or Seven are Fincher's best movie, but just like with how when people say Pulp Fiction is their favorite Quentin Tarantino movie, I will most likely say, yeah, that may be the case, but it's not my favorite movie of his. In fact, my favorite Fincher movie is probably Zodiac, a movie where like nothing really happens. It's a movie about the Zodiac killer who, spoilers, they never caught, which means that the film is left without a killer being actually caught. And somehow that's my favorite movie of his. And I'm talking about the extended version, which is like 2 hours and 40 or 50 minutes or something. So Fincher, because of his beautiful visuals and the way he films everything and the way he makes his actors perform, he takes this formula for a film that should only work for one viewing and makes it work for several viewings. And Gone Girl is exactly the same. When this movie was done, there was like this middle part where I felt like, when I'm done with this movie, I don't think I want to see it again. But when the film came to an end and everything was actually done, I wanted to see it again. And oh, by the way, don't worry about spoilers. I will warn before I get into spoilers. Well, I'm like, 30 minutes in? Yeah, I'm almost 30 minutes in, and I haven't mentioned anything about spoilers yet. But I will contain myself before I mention spoilers. And just say that, as I said, this is an incredible movie. I actually really like. I feel like I have to defend myself. I saw a review mentioning, and I think that's very telling, even though I haven't really been active in the cinema scene this year. There was a review that said that Gone Girl is a movie that finally deserves to be talked about. And I think that actually explains very much why I haven't gone to the movies much this year. In the last couple of years, we haven't gotten a lot of blockbusters because blockbusters are heavy on action and have very little dialogue, which means they don't have to be dubbed, they don't have to be subtitled very much, and they're, because of that, very universal for all markets, which means that since America is no longer the biggest film market, China is, it's easier to sell Transformers to China than it is to sell Gone Girl, which means that you want to put your money in the Transformers basket. I'm not saying that's the only reason, I'm saying that's becoming an increasing reason why they're doing that. Meaning that more and more films are, at least as I'm considering, becoming dumber. And don't call me stupid, don't call me out of touch, because that's not a lie. That's the way it is. That's why Guardians of the Galaxy sold, was because it was because we've gotten in this weird position where we have two different movies. We have movies that are so stupid that they're almost mentally handicapped because they have no story at all and are just explosions. And we have the fucking superhero movies that are supposed to somehow be so serious that no one really wants to see that anymore, because since Batman is done, they're trying to apply that shit on characters who shouldn't have that story and structure. Which is why everyone liked Guardians, because it was stupid and fun. It wasn't stupid like Transformers stupid, it was intelligently stupid. In fact, my favorite movies until Gone Girl were How to Train Your Dragon 2, which is an amazing film, that made $300 million in a month, and Transformers made that in a day. And what does that tell you? That something's fucking wrong. And yeah, trash talk me as much as you want. I will say that it's wrong that Transformers made $300 million in a day. Or like over a weekend or whatever it was. Either way, in either 1 day or 3 days, that movie made more money than How to Train Your Dragon 2 made in a month. And that's insane. It's that and the Lego Movie. Those are my two favorite movies, except for Gone Girl. And yeah, animated and intelligent films. Because somehow, animated films are now more intelligent than some of the mainstream blockbusters that are thrown at actual adult human beings, and that's crazy. Do we really want to put more fucking intelligence into our children than into ourselves? I mean, that's a good thing, I guess, because that might mean our children grow up to be empathetic creatures, but still. But to get back to Gone Girl, I wrote down some notes here. Very few, but it's something to get us going. Yeah. One of the reasons I want to see this movie was because of Ben Affleck. Because if anyone can push a good performance out of someone, it's David Fincher. I think Jake Gyllenhaal hated working with him on Zodiac because David Fincher insisted that I think he said that Jake Gyllenhaal has a boyishness that doesn't vanish until like the 40th take, which meant that he actually forced Jake Gyllenhaal to do the same scene at least like 30 to 40 times before he was satisfied. So Jake Gyllenhaal essentially has said that he's never going to make a movie with Fincher again. And I wondered what that meant, since David Fincher obviously sees things in people that I can't even remotely see. And Ben Affleck is a guy who's, let's face it, been ridiculed for his subpar acting skills for several years now. So I wanted to see this. And, Ben Affleck did a good job. For those who don't know what Gone Girl is, this is not spoilers, just a summary in fact, I can read the back of the book. Who are you? What have we done to each other? These are the questions Nick Dunn finds himself asking on the morning of his 5th wedding anniversary, when his wife Amy suddenly disappears. The police suspect Nick. Amy's friends reveal that she was afraid of him, that she kept secrets from him. He swears it isn't true. A police examination of his computer shows strange searches. He says they weren't made by him, and then there are the persistent calls on his mobile phone. So what did happen to Nick's beautiful wife? Okay, this doesn't really summarize the film much because, this is a minor spoiler. They never mention his computer searches in the film. Sorry, I ruined the movie. I ruined the 2.5-hour movie by saying that they don't really talk about his computer searches. But you get the gist. Ben Affleck is a man whose wife vanishes at the beginning of the film, and then the entire thing becomes a big question about where did she go? Is she dead? Did Ben Affleck kill her? And what the hell's going on? Ben Affleck does an excellent job, but the big star of this film is an actress who I actually have had sort of an immense celebrity crush on for at least 2 years now, is Rosamund Pike. Holy shit. Before I get into spoilers, the acting is great. This is a David Fincher movie through and through. It's beautiful to look at. His continued collaboration, I think this is his 3rd movie he's made with Trent Reznor from Nine Inch Nails. The music works really great. The script is really, really good. It has some pretty good social commentary. And one thing I want to point out before I get into spoilers, and I might actually get back into with spoilers later on, but this is something that isn't a spoiler, is that product placement is like my 2 major gripes with this movie is, one, product placement. It's like 2 points. It's like one point where I think they're like in the fucking police station and Nick Dunn is talking to some police officers, and it's very clear that one of the police officers is drinking from a Dunkin' Donuts coffee cup or something, and it's like, that's fucking stupid. Why? Like, I don't hate product placement. It's great that product placement is in there. I'm wearing a fucking Cleveland Cavaliers shirt right now. Like, I don't give a shit about that, but it has to feel natural. And it doesn't feel natural when nothing in the world has products, nothing has a label on it except like these 3 things that I noticed throughout the movie. And whenever they show them, of course, it's the fact that the logo is always perfect, 100% centered so you can see it. I kind of wish they would have more product placement, but less of it being perfect, because it being perfect is what bothers me. And especially in these David Fincher movies. Like, there's this one scene in His last movie, The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, where Rooney Mara comes in with a fucking red McDonald's box. And it's like, okay, is there any place where they still sell those? Like, I get that you have to have McDonald's, but come in with a fucking paper bag and slam it down so I can see the M. Don't bring in this crazy red box that doesn't look like it belongs anywhere, because that's the icon that they have for a Happy Meal. Are you 5? Why are you buying a Happy Meal? The other problem is the ending. And again, not spoiling anything, just saying that the ending, the last act, the wrap-up, to me felt a little long. The wrap-up is... sort of like, the movie doesn't go out with a bang. It kind of goes out with, not with a whimper either. It kind of goes out with a... If you expect a bullet to shoot out of the gun, instead it comes like it's a water pistol. It's a very big spout for the water pistol, but it's not as good as you want it to be. I felt like the movie could have wrapped up faster, and had it wrapped up faster, it would have been more effective. And again, I didn't give you any details. I'm not going to go into that more, but that's how I felt. All that being said, the movie's 2.5 hours long, and I looked at the watch a couple times throughout it, but it didn't feel that long anyway. Like, because it was 2.5 hours. At first, like, holy shit, they crowded a lot of in. We must be at least 90 minutes in, and we were like, oh, we're only an hour in. Okay, crap. I mean, that's sort of a compliment that a film feels like it's fed you so much information that information must have taken place over a longer period of time than an hour, but it hasn't. It wasn't ever a negative experience, and in fact, to say something, I really want to see Gone Girl again. But also, this was actually like the first movie ever that I actually wanted to take a date to. I was seriously considering asking a girl to come with me to this movie, and I decided not to try and just go see it by myself, because I could not wait. I could not wait. I wanted to see this movie now. It came out here today. It got good reviews. I wanted to go see it, and I was kind of in a bad spot because a classmate accidentally sort of screamed in my ear, and it kind of ruined me yesterday. So I kind of, for my own sake, wanted to go see it. So I said, fuck it. I won't ask this girl. I won't do anything like that. I'll just go see it by myself, as it should be, and I'm glad I didn't. But also kind of sad I didn't, because I think Rosamund Pike in like an interview here once said that it's one of those films where, like, if you watch it, you might, and you're on a date, you might glance over at your date and wonder what kind of person they really are, because the film has a very heavy theme of not really knowing who you're dealing with when it comes to, like, relationships. And yeah, that's a really strong theme overall. Like, before I get into some brief spoilers, I'm not going to make this too long because I'm tired. I gotta go study, and also wine, beer, rambling, floor tablets. Gotta stop before, like, this thing starts to lose itself. I love this film. I really love this film. In fact, it might have replaced How to Train Your Dragon 2 as my favorite film of the year. And I really didn't expect it. If I want to put it on the scale of David Fincher films, it is slightly under Zodiac, maybe potentially under The Social Network. But as it is now, I actually think Gone Girl might be my second and maybe even favorite film of his. Yeah, actually more than both Seven and Fight Club, which aren't my favorite films of his to begin with. But, you know, I think that, first of all, his use of Ben Affleck. Like, Ben Affleck is great in this film for what he is. He's this, like, they utilize Ben Affleck perfectly. He plays this fucking asshole who, like, you feel for, because you don't really, like, even though you don't know, you kind of know. Like, even though you don't know, you kind of know, because, like, early on in the film, it seems pretty fucking clear that he probably didn't do this thing to his wife. And even though he just acts like the biggest douchebag and idiot when it comes to every single turn of this fucking movie. Like, you're an asshole, you're an idiot. why the fuck are you doing these things? Why aren't you just telling people what's going on? Why don't you tell people this? Why don't you do that? Why the fuck did you do that? Like, you want to slap Ben Affleck over the head because he seems like this big jughead idiot, and that's perfect for him. He's a perfect guy to fucking portray that character. So yeah, and Rosamund Pike is amazing. I don't want to say too much more before I go into spoilers, and I'm not going to cover this film so heavily. You know, in fact, fuck that. I'm not gonna do spoilers. I'm not gonna talk about it like that. I don't want to do that. I want everyone to go see Gone Girl. I want people to go see this movie. If you know me, holla at me. I'm probably too busy studying for my first Korean test to come. But if you want to go see the Gone Girl, specifically if you're also attractive and a girl, ask me. I might go. I will most likely go see Gone Girl at least one more time before it stops playing. I'm not going to spoil it anymore. Holy shit, I was fully prepared. Let's see. Did I forget to mention anything? No, visual details, product placement, a date movie that might make you... It's a date movie that might be good or bad, depending on if your fucking date is gets off on fucking weird psychotic thriller things. It doesn't feel that long, and the ending sort of maybe detracts, but not really either. Yeah, I mentioned all my 5 points. Go see Gone Girl. It's a beautiful, fascinating, well-written film with great actors, sexy-ass Rosamund Pike. It even has fucking Neil Patrick Harris in it, and he doesn't play a funny character. He kind of plays a funny character, but not really, because this movie's not fucking funny. This movie's fucking terrifying in a way. That's it. I'm sure I've missed things. I would love to talk about other things, but I have got to go get this thing uploaded, go to bed, and wake up tomorrow, study more Korean, so that when I get to Korea, I know how to ask people how to get from the airport to my university. Hopefully this will not be too long, until the next one. I have started clearing up space. Also, another problem is my computer has been swamped. I need to fucking clear it out, but I've also started deleting files temporarily to fix things. So I'll try to get more things up. I want to do some reviews on Asian films. If it wasn't for the fact that my Sony camera is kind of fucked, I would actually want to start editing stuff and make some sort of lists over Asian films that I want people to see. Because there's a lot of films that I've come in contact with, I feel like a lot of people who really enjoy that don't give Asian films a chance. But that's a talk for another day. I have a blog that I don't really update ever, but I have one. It's mostly about my trip and about Asian cinema. I might put that in the link down below or something. Until then, go see Gone Girl. Have a good one. And yeah, I'm going to stop doing the Jack Sparrow hands. Have a good one. Bye.